Hey everyone, it's Dominic the Primetime Treasure Hunter. Welcome back to another video and welcome in to all of the new subscribers that have come over from the Craigslist Hunters channel. There's been between 600 to 700 new subscribers in the last few days ever since I posted this video, and Craigslist Hunter posted a video, more importantly, on his channel about my trip over there to the trading post. It was just such a great day, so much fun. Check out the videos if you didn't happen to see those. It was, again, really a great time. I'm actually still in Chicago. This is my last night. That's why you see a different background behind me, but I wanted to try to make sure I got a video up before I headed back to Primetime Treasure headquarters tomorrow. What I wanted to talk to you about today is when buyers sometimes make unreasonable return request or comp request. And in this case, I had one last week when I was on vacation over at Disney World. I got a message from a buyer who wanted a comp on what actually was one of, if not actually the most expensive and profitable item that I sold in my eBay store last month. Now that video is right here. If you haven't checked that one out, there's a lot to learn in that video, so go check that one out. What sold on eBay in May 2019. If you remember from that video, the most expensive and profitable item that sold for me was this lot of 29 Savage Sword of Conan the Barbarian comic books. And for those of you new to my channel, I specialize in comic books. I've been doing comic books ever since I was a kid. I know them inside and out. I know how to grade them. I know what should be in circulation, what shouldn't, all that type of stuff. It's my number one area of expertise, and as you can see here from my feedback, I have excellent feedback, no negatives, one neutral because someone didn't like the odor of a stuffed animal, but that's it. Anything you see related to comic books talks about how well they are shipped and the condition and that sort of stuff. I have very high standards as a collector and a reseller in terms of what I will even put on the market. And you've seen that from some of my haul videos. If you go to my storage unit unboxing videos that I've done with the comic books, you'll see a whole bunch of them where I'll show you. These ones I won't even resell them because they're just not up to my own standards in terms of what should be out there. So anyway, what happened was while I'm on vacation, I get a contact from this person who, by the way, spent $260. I gave the person a deal. I wanted $299.99, so best offer $260, which was fine. I had literally nothing invested in these books anymore. They came out of a big a lot purchase that I made my money back on, so this was just an all-profit sale. I'm going to scroll down through these and then through some individually so you could see the whole covers and just get a sense of how good the condition is. Now, they're not perfect comic books. They're from the 1970s. They're comic book magazines, but they are in really decent shape, especially like some of these early issues like #1 and #2 and stuff. I mean, they're really in great shape. So, and you can see here, just as an aside, how I strategically lay these out in layers, so that with that first picture, you could really draw the viewer in. That first picture is so important, and this one just gives a sense of all the colors. And I strategically, by the way, put the first 5 items in that. And when I say the first 5 items, I mean the first 5 issues. I want that full cover for those first 5 issues to show. I don't want them being tucked behind each other in layers like this across the top because there's overlap there. But over here for this first row, I know that's going to give me a full cover. So I want to show the ones that are the most important. And for this, it's those first 5 issues. So that's just a little aside on how I psychologically lay out some of the items. And then, if people want more specifics, they could go over here and see the full cover when I put them out in little chunks like this in groups of 6 and then groups of 3 and then maybe a group of 2, just depending on how many there are. So I'm going to just talk you through this in terms of what the complaint was, meanwhile showing you how great the condition was. So the person wrote me and said that of the 29 issues, by the way, person said, oh, most of them were what I expected and I'm happy overall, but there were 10 that I didn't like the condition of. And he says, I took those 10. He literally says this in the message to me. He says, I took those 10 I took them out of the bags and the boards. And for those who are new into comics and don't know what that is a reference to, if you want to protect your comic books, you put them in basically a plastic sheath, and you have basically a piece of cardboard behind it in the back of the book to prevent it from getting bent and damaged. So it prevents it from bends, stains, creases, that sort of thing. I mean, that doesn't make them impervious to damage, but it does really, really help to bag and board the books. Prevents it from moisture damage, or limits it, that kind of thing. So, person says he took them out of the bags and the boards, so he kept the bags and the boards for himself, and then he took all of the books and threw them in the garbage can. And wanted me to comp him for those 10 books. And he names the 10 books. And, as you can see here, I don't care which 10 books you pick out, there is not a problem with these books. And the backs of them look similar to this as well. So there's no major problem. I know what the insides look like, that sort of thing. There is no significant problem with these. And sometimes this is what happens when you sell an item that's very expensive, and I would definitely consider $260 up there. Sometimes people will try to shave the cost off by making some kind of return request like this, or or a comp request. And so you need to be familiar with eBay's return policy, because basically, while I am very big on customer service and I will go above and beyond to help my customers, I also will not be taken advantage of in any significant way. Like, now, what I mean by that is, let's say this person contacted me and said, you know what, there's one issue here, I'm not happy with it, could you refund me $5? I'm not going to make a big deal out of that, and I'm just going to be like, okay, fine. But for something like this, you're dealing with about a third of the books. So what is that going to be? Like an $80 refund, an $80 comp that the person wants? Well, now we're in another territory. So you've got to go over and you've got to be familiar with eBay's return policy. And there's lots of aspects of it. And especially if you're new, I want to just reinforce for you to make sure you read the return policy and you understand it, because it really can protect you and you have the right to stick up for yourself as a seller. Yes, eBay does favor buyers, but they will stick up for sellers in certain situations. I know from experience. I've been doing eBay for a very long time, and just recently I've had instances where eBay has backed me with sellers returning things, and I don't get a lot of returns, but one time, for example, a person sent me back some comics and sent them from California, took them out of the bags and the boards and just carelessly threw them in a bag, and they got severely damaged on the way back, such that I couldn't resell them. And I did a whole video about that. So if we go here, let's look at the condition of returned items policy. And I'm just going to take a sip of this drink so I don't have a coughing attack while I'm trying to do this video. Let's pay attention to this part right here. This is real important. If a buyer needs to return an item, I'm going to emphasize this, it must be returned in the same condition in which it was received. And it must include all items that were in the original package. So what I told the buyer in this situation, and I was polite, I said, with all due respect, that is not your decision to make. If you want a comp on the item, okay? What I'm saying is not his decision to make. It's not his decision to make that he can now just trash the books, because in his opinion, he said the books should not even be in circulation. He decided they shouldn't be in circulation, so he threw them in the garbage. Now, don't get me wrong. If he wants to keep all the books and take 10 of them and throw them in the trash and doesn't want a refund or a comp, he can make that decision all he wants. But if he wants the seller to comp him on the books or comp on the items or do a refund, then you need to be able to send the items back in the same way that they were received. And eBay will back you with that, okay? So he then wrote me back and he said, well, I could take them out of the trash and send you pictures of what they look like, and then can I get a comp? And I said, no, it doesn't work that way. I said, because now what you did by taking them out of the bags and the boards and throwing 10 issues in the trash is you have very likely caused damage to the books just by doing that. They probably have coffee grinds on them now, stains. Who knows what happened to them now that you just threw them in trash like that. They probably got, some tears on them, some rips, creases. Like, there's no way they're in the same condition now that you just threw them all in the trash. So eventually he just wrote me back and he said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm still going to trash them. And I didn't even respond because, again, I've already told him that, it's up to him if he wants to do that. But I let him know, you basically eliminate the ability for me to help you when you take the items and throw them in the garbage. Now, I decided to do this video because of what I consider oddity of the request when you just think of it in terms of common sense. Like, I even let him know, I said, I can't think of any retail situation where you can go to the store or you could go to any seller and say, I took the item, threw it in the garbage, I don't have it with me, could you give me a return or a comp on it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So that's one of the things. That's one of the things that I explained. So, I have not heard back from this person here. If the person does decide to leave a negative feedback for me, which they could technically do, then I have every right to call eBay and deal with the feedback department and get that removed, because that would be a feedback left that runs completely counter to eBay's policy on how returns should be handled by buyers. So you just can't do that. So I have heard other people in my Facebook group. If you're not a member of that, please go and join that. We're almost at 10,000 members. The Facebook Reselling Resource Center. The link to that's down below in the description section of the video. I have heard people before mention that they've had buyers contact them and say that the item has been thrown into the garbage, and can you give me a comp or a refund, and asked how to handle it. So I wanted to also put this video just as a resource so I could refer people to it. And if this has happened to you, please let me know. Let me know how you handled it. Put your comment down below. I always love hearing what you have to say. If you have any questions, let me know that too. With that being said, I am going to wrap up this video, but I do want to tell you, so tomorrow I will be back at Primetime Treasure headquarters. You're going to see some major changes on this channel in the next 6 months. It's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but I did make the decision last night, especially after talking to Pete. Not only that, but also getting feedback from other YouTubers as well. Rake and Profits, Casey, Rockstar Flipper, like a lot of people I've talked to. It's really time for me to upgrade the recording device, not for these webcam type videos necessarily, but when I'm out and about and at flea markets and garage sales and estate sales. I did take the plunge and did make a big investment into a Canon G7X Mark II. So that was definitely a big investment, but it's going to significantly improve the video that you're going to see. It's a wide angle lens, so you're going to see more. It's going to really improve the audio quality when I'm out, because I know that is an issue. And I decided to make this change now, bumping up over 5,000 subscribers. I think that's significant, and I want to make sure I'm making better content, not in terms of the actual content, but the video and the audio output for that. I want to make sure that's better for you. In addition to that, I am tonight or tomorrow going to be investing into the top of the line video editing software that's out there by Adobe. And so that's going to take me a little bit of time to learn, but you're going to see some much more professional looking videos coming out of the channel. And there's going to be some other things coming down the road as well. So, and not all going to be on YouTube, but you're going to see things in the Facebook group that are going to happen. Come to my Instagram account. All the links to these things are down below. The Facebook Reselling Resource Center. If you're new to me from Craigslist, by the way, and you haven't been to the Facebook Reselling Resource Center, one of the things we do that a lot of people love, it's called Support That Seller Sunday. So I pick one person, I feature that one person, I just ask everybody to go buy from that person, and then they all put their links in terms of what they buy. We have one person who made about $500 in sales in one day, sold like 30 items or something like that. It was crazy. And on average, people are making like $200 per event. And it's just going to get bigger as this event keeps growing, as we have more members. So that's just one thing. Like, there's so many things that happen in that group. I don't want to say all of it here, but just go to the group. It's free to join. You'll see that again. Facebook Reselling Resource Center. On Instagram, I'm at prime_time_treasure. And I will see you back for another video when I'm back at Primetime Treasure headquarters. See you later, everyone. Thanks again for everyone new who has joined the channel. Take care.